Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood broke a promise over the weekend. It nominated a candidate for president. The once banned opposition group has repeatedly vowed to stay out of the presidential race. The group's political arm, the Freedom and Justice Party, is backing business tycoon Khairat al-Shater. He has since resigned from his post as the group's deputy chairman to run for office. The Freedom and Justice Party makes up the largest bloc in parliament, 47% of the seats. I want to bring in a member of the Freedom and Justice Party now, a member of parliament, Dr.Dardery. He represents Luxor in the Egyptian parliament. He also serves as the Foreign Relations Committee head of the Freedom and Justice Party, and he joins us now from Washington. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Hala, for having me.
So what is the object of your trip to the United States this week?
The object is, after the great Egyptian revolution, is to create mutual understanding between the Egyptian democracy and the American democracy based on mutual respect and mutual interest. It's very important that we keep talking with one another so that we create this trust that is very much needed during these times.
All right, let's talk about trust, because that is something that is missing, it seems, as far as Egyptians and the Muslim Brotherhood are concerned, and let me tell you why. Many of them say, look, before the parliamentary election for the lower house, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Freedom and Justice Party, said we will only run for 30 to 40% of the seats. That didn't happen. You ran for much more and got 47% of parliament. Then the Freedom and Justice Party said we will not field a candidate for the presidential election. An about-face happened, and you did. Why should Egyptians trust you?
Yeah, thank you for asking this question. This requires some sort of explanation, because when we ran, we did not run as Freedom and Justice Party. We ran in a larger coalition called the Democratic Coalition, and that's why the percentage is higher than what we said before. Now, as far as the presidential candidate, there are very serious challenges to democracy in Egypt, and we're very much interested in establishing democracy in Egypt, and we would like the democratic process to continue producing better alternatives for the Egyptians, for the area around Egypt, and for the rest of the world. We came through democratic, we took that first decision in a democratic way. Then situation changes, we had to make consideration to the changing situation, and we came with the other decision so that to be able to care for democracy in Egypt and to establish the rule of law.
But you still broke a promise. I mean, this party still broke a promise. People feel blindsided by the Muslim Brotherhood right now.
In a democratic process, Hala, you change your situation according to political considerations. There was serious concern that the parliament is likely to be dissolved, and this will impact the Constitution Writing Committee, and then we're left again to a president who comes with sweeping power, and we don't want to go back to square one. The Egyptian revolution came to achieve freedom, justice, and the rule of law.
All right.
When we feel that this is threatened, we prefer to have a candidate. And at the end of the day, it is not about nomination. It's about election. And what the Egyptian people will choose will be accepted by all.
Here are the fears, as you know, I'm sure, in Egypt as well. This is a year after the revolution, where people are saying, look, you have a panel that is tasked with writing a new constitution. It is crushingly dominated by either Muslim Brotherhood or Noor party members. The Copts even, that represent 10% of the entire country, say we cannot even participate because we are so underrepresented and we have no say in the writing of this constitution. Are minority rights in peril in Egypt to the point where the Copts can't even take part in the writing of the constitution in their own country?
Yeah, two things in clarification, and thank you again for raising this issue. Although the Freedom and Justice Party and Noor represent more than 70% of the elected members of the parliament, they only represent 39% of the Constitution Assembly. Concerning the Copts, we don't really look at Copts as minority. Copts are part of the Egyptian society, and they're part and the parcel of democracy now and democracy in the future. The rights, not only the rights, but the rights of all living in Egypt have equal rights because they're equal citizens, and this is the spirit of the Egyptian revolution. We remember the spirit of the Egyptian revolution during Tahrir Square, where men and women, old, young, Muslims and Christians worked together to make that revolution.
But Dr. Dardery, I'm sorry to
Yes,
jump in, but you say these things, and I think people just don't trust the Freedom and Justice Party.
Not at all.
And I'll tell you, let me just tell you something. The Noor Party spokesperson, Nader Bakr, told the Egyptian press, as I'm sure you know, that he would seek to alter the wording of the Constitution to conform with Sharia rules. When people hear these things, they are very scared for the future of Egypt because they think, is the Freedom and Justice Party, are the Muslim Brotherhood and the Noor Party truly committed to the separation of powers and the separation of religion and the executive in the new Egypt?
Fully committed to the separation of power, yes. And let me tell you something. I am coming from Luxor. Large number of Luxor citizens are Christians, and 80% of them supported me in me running for the parliament. So it is not really as it is said. I think it is a media myth that there is a conflict between Muslims and Copts in Egypt. I think we're one fabric, we're one society, and I think we're not asking we're not going to impose any law. It is an Egyptian choice, and the Egyptians are going to make their own choices. And you know, after the revolution, Egypt has a democracy now, and we have to respect the will of the people.
Right. Let me tell you, you spoke of the Copts, and you said, I don't consider the Copts a minority. Well, there is a group in Egypt that is not a minority either, and those are women. Of course, half the population of your country. Let me show a graphic of how many women are members of parliament in Egypt. I hope you can see this. You see, if you squint your eyes, Dr. Dardery, really hard, you might see a pink sliver at the very bottom left-hand corner. That's how many women are in the Egyptian parliament. How is this good for the new Egypt?
You see, and that is small percentage of the women in the Egyptian parliament. Almost all of them are coming from the Freedom and Justice Party. I recognize there is a challenge. There is no doubt that women participated greatly in the Egyptian revolution, and they have to play a major role. This has a lot to do with the ex-Mubarak's regime that really minimized the role of women in the Egyptian society. It's a cultural challenge, and I think we're going to work for it in the future. And I think we'll expect major changes happening, especially we have municipality election coming soon, and I expect lots of women will be able to run for the municipality election. And I think Freedom and Justice Party is taking serious consideration in this regard, and we expect better changes in the position of women, the role of women. Women and men are equal in their participation and in their political role, and I expect a lot of changes coming, very positive changes, I can tell you that, Hala.
All right, Abdelmagoud Dardery, we'll see how voters respond to you and what the future holds for Egypt a little more than a year after this revolution. Thank you very much for joining us. The Member of Parliament for Luxor as well, which I know is facing some tough tourism challenges in your region as well this year.
Yes, very true. We're aware of this, and we're very much concerned about stability in the region. And I think we have a lot to do, good for Egypt, good for the Arab world, and good for the rest of the world.
All right, thanks very much. Abdelmagoud Dardery joining us live in Washington.
Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.